I feel awkward doing this. I think something that has kept me back from making any sort of YouTube content is that I just feel unbelievably cringe filming it, but I don't know. I here we go. So the title is true, yes. I've been playing One Piece for a little over a month, and I have 4 now tournament wins. How was I able to accomplish this? How can you get these gains? How can you be as cool as me? Um, the answer is play Blue Doflamingo, which is kind of a joke, but also isn't. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about myself, my background, and why I started playing One Piece. So as a kid, I grew up playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I love Yu-Gi-Oh! Love playing it with my friends. And I even went to the 2016 Yu-Gi-Oh! Nationals in Pittsburgh. Now, that was a lot of fun. I had a great time, but I never really did too well. And I think there were always things that I knew that I should be doing that were holding me back. And, I've played different digital card games over the years. I played, a bunch of Hearthstone. I had a 12 win arena run. I got to Legend once. I played like Marvel Snap, got to like Infinite or whatever. But I never really engaged with the meta, never really sunk my teeth into anything, and never really gave it my all. So when the next sort of like craving for that sort of like competitive game came around, I was like, man, I really want to see like what I'm made of. Can I compete? Can I do well? Can I, actually put forward the effort and succeed in competitive card games? Because it had really never, I'd really never done my full effort. You know what I mean? So about a month ago, I was like, well, I really want. It was a little over a month ago. It was a Thanksgiving weekend. I was like, heard about One Piece. I didn't want to pick up Magic because I don't know. It's just not something I'm interested in. One Piece seemed like an easier game to pick up without knowing any of it, and I think that's true still. So I learned the rules. First deck I built was Gecko Moria. Played a couple tournaments with that and didn't do too bad. I think I went 1-3. I went 2-2, and then I went 1-3. But I don't know. I was like, I'm doing the sort of similar things where I picked an off-meta deck that I like, but I'm not really engaging with the meta. So I was like, okay, I'm going to practice Doflamingo, the best deck in the format, and I'm going to grind the shit out of it. I'm going to build the deck. I'm going to play what is known to be good. And man, it is just a world of difference. Not only in that I figured out that I was missing so many parts of the game by sort of pigeonholing myself into this like specialist of like, I was like playing this like niche control deck. But also, yeah, my like mind was expanding of like more facets of the game, and I think that's something that's important and something I have to do more was like playing a lot of different decks whose win conditions are different so that you engage in all parts of the game. Like I mean, not that Doflamingo doesn't engage in a lot of parts of the game, but one thing in particular, like Doflamingo does not engage a whole lot in like removal and like thinking about like your opponent's costs and like, because I run like, we'll get to the deck list in a minute, but I run like Gravity Blade, and it's like, I'm like, well, if I can clear it, I guess I should clear some stuff, right? But really thinking about like how much value you need to gain in order for that 7 Dawn to be worth it is something that control decks experience, but then control decks might not experience like the more complex dynamic, not more complex, but the dynamic of like swinging into board versus swinging into life. As a control deck, a lot of times you were just like keeping them in check and then getting to the point where, you're at your end game and you're slamming down like 15 Gecko Morias and blowing all their shit up. So let me get to the deck and talk a little bit about that. Well, I just realized that for that entire intro section, I was holding the microphone, but it wasn't actually recording on that microphone, so I just am holding that for no fucking reason. Where are the rest of my Peronas? There they are. Okay, so I'm going to go through the cards. I'm going to go through the deck list. I don't have good camera positioning or lighting, but this is to just talk about sort of, I think it was like kind of like this. Because I changed this around a little bit, and I'll talk about that in a second. But just go through it real quick here. Forbo Hancock, cracked card. Weevil, cracked. 6K, sick. Running 4 Geckos at the moment. Pull back Jinbeis, nice. Jinbei busted card, cracked. 4 Law, unfair. Mihawk, I want to use his effect more because I think it's good. I was watching Jonas Abraham play, and he actually plays out Mihawk a lot and gets value out of its hand filtering. But, you know, whatever. I'm running Teach at 3. This card's insane. I think 3 or 4 for sure. I think 3 is good because he's not as good going second, but I think he's absolutely insane going first. We have 3 Sengoku. I'm going to talk about, I'm actually up this a bit later. Same with like 3 Perona. But this is the deck list that I got the wins with. So just makes you think, why would I change it? But I'll talk about that in a second. 2 Perfumes. I ran it at 1 initially, but I think 2 is good because you want to see it a lot of games to close out lethal. Basically, your objective is to get them to 0 and then kill them with Perfume. Gravity Blade. Awesome. Sick card. Busted, like you get max like 12 Dawn of removal for 7 Dawn, and on like 8 Dawn, if you have Teach Up, you can Gravity Blade and use Leader ability. And then going first, you can like Gravity Blade on 7, and then they're kind of like fucked because hopefully you have more tempo. 2K counter, worst Perona, and then this is something I don't quite like about making some decks is like Croc, it's like sometimes you can bounce back your own Sengoku. Sometimes they maybe have like a smaller blocker that you can bounce back. But for the most part, almost entirely, this is just like a 2K counter. And then I run 3 Puttins. This card's fucked. It means that like, I think it's okay. The fact that this deck can run it is insane because it's like the aggro deck makes it so your opponent can't gain too much hand value, which is like fucking nuts. And then I ran 2 Jozus. I actually ended up dropping the Jozus afterwards because I don't know, this card is just super slow, and I think if you allocate Dawn correctly later, you don't need the 7K body. The threshold of 6 doesn't really matter because like you have Gravity Blade, which is like the same threshold anyway, and also like I can't really think of many like 5 or 6 cost things that you would want to bounce back to their hand, like maybe like Carrot or Cavendish in green, but you'd rather Gravity Blade them, and also like those decks aren't very prominent, so like Law gets you 90% of the way there, and it fits way better in the deck, and these are 2 more whiffs that you can potentially get. So I ended up just replacing those with another Sengoku and Perona. But for the original deck list that I won with, these bad boys were in it, even to not much effect. And then kind of want to demo this a little bit, if you don't mind, is I keep a page in my binder. These are just extra copies because I got the starter deck. But these are all cards that I have that I like could run or like could swap out in the deck. That way it's just like flexible and like I can do whatever I want with the deck. So yeah, that's it there. I was like wrapping up and I was like, oh, yeah, that went well. That went okay. That wasn't too cringe. I should reorganize this. This is the first one I got, the Edison, and I think this is my favorite. I really love like a green and gold like color scheme.
So this being my like first winter card, I think it's like really cool. Let's see if I can put that back in. And then I should really reorder this by the time, like the place that I got them. And then we got Ace there, and then actually I got 2 of these Kakus. So yeah, that's it there. So yeah, that's just about it. I hope this didn't come off as too show-offy or braggy. I'm just trying to document my competitive journey and like the success that I've had and like, you know, how I achieved that. And I think it may seem to some people that like, you know, oh, I just ran the best deck and that's how I won. But it really, to me, is about identifying weaknesses that you have and working on those weaknesses. And playing meta decks, or not playing meta decks rather, for me was a weakness. Or at least a weakness that I wanted to correct. You know, for some people, they get a lot of gratification out of, you know, really honing their craft on their deck. And for them, that's great. But for me, I really want to experience all parts of the game and experience many different facets of it and learn as much as I can. And I'm hoping the next update will be on Blackbeard, because I'm building Blackbeard. Well, I've built him, and I really want to grind that deck and do well with that deck because I think it has a lot of potential, especially with OP10. Realize my camera's fucking shaking all over the place. So if you're interested in that, give it a like, subscribe, whatever. I don't really know what all kind of content I want to do. I want to do like simulator. I want to stream, those sorts of things. So if you want to see that, you know, give it a subscribe, turn on the fucking notifications or whatever. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Peace out.